Guys, so I have no idea what part of any video this is, but we are back at our double bathroom project, which is kind of turned into a bigger mess than we originally thought. But today, our first course of action is going to be getting under the house. We've got a floor joist that was cut completely in half by what looks like the original plumbers, because it is the cast iron toilet drain up under this house. So what we're going to do is get a support post put underneath that joist, kind of level it with the other two joists around it. And then once we get all that done, we can go back upstairs, finish cutting the tub out, get it out of the way, and start repairing her subfloor, which is a whole nother ordeal in and of itself. So this simple bathroom rehab has turned into a complete bathroom demo disaster. But hey, that's kind of what you get into whenever you start these projects, especially in bathrooms. Anything where water is present, you can pretty much bet your money that you're gonna find something that you weren't expecting, and you're gonna have to go farther than you were expecting in order to fix it and get it done right. But I'm gonna try to set the camera up under here where you can see everything. I do have a light under here. I'm just gonna talk you through kind of my idea, how I'm gonna jack up this joist, get it back level, and we'll go from there. All right, so we're up here under the house. I'm gonna show you exactly what we're looking at. So if you look right here to the right of my hand, this floor joist right here, hopefully you can see it behind this pipe, but they cut right through it. So this floor joist has nothing actually holding it on this side of the house. And that is the reason why the floor is sagging upstairs. That's the reason why the toilet was leaking, because it couldn't get flat contact with the flange up there. So what we're gonna do today is actually add just a support from this joist to the joist on the other side of the sagging one. And that's actually, it's not gonna be there to support any weight. It's just gonna be there so that I know what level is between the two joists. Because I'm not super concerned if these are sagging, just because over time, the age of the house, the whole house is gonna settle anyway. So what we wanna do is just match the settling of the rest of the joists. So what you're gonna see me do is I've got a bottle jack down there. I'm gonna get a bottle jack and a 4x4 up under the joist that is sagging, jack it up above the level that it needs to be, get a 2x6 across the other joist, go ahead and get my 4x4 support put on the ground right here to hold it, and then we'll let the sagging floor joist sit back down right on top of the 2x6 that is basically our level line going across. All right, so our first course of action is to go ahead and get our block under there, get it mostly straight up under that joist, and go ahead and jack it up to start relieving some of the pressure. Now you'll see my jack is at a pretty extreme angle right here, and I will show you a great way to fix that. Definitely do it at your own risk, but I found a nice rock down there that leveled it out pretty good, so I felt pretty safe. I wasn't worried the house was going to come crashing down on me, but you know, the jack could pop out and you'll lose your wood and all that fun stuff. So just be careful whenever you're jacking up anything with a bottle jack. All right, so we just got done jacking the house up, and we got our 2x6 that is spanning across these joists here. So I know with this 2x6 that I have the joist that is fallen jacked up a little bit farther than level, which is exactly where I want it. So now I've got Tristan cutting us another 4x4, our actual post that's gonna go on top of the block, and it's gonna go up, and I'm gonna cut it just a little bit tight right here. I'm gonna hammer it in, because I know over time this block's gonna settle as well. But the thought with the 2x6 is it'll just kind of help span the gap. It'll help divert some of the load up top. And then the post down here won't be carrying the weight of very much at all, really. It'll be holding the weight of this one joist and then whatever is shared with these two. But the weight that's shared with these two is also going to the header beam where these joists are good. So I think that's going to be more than enough to keep this section up good. And it's going to make it where we don't have to try to sister around this toilet flange, because we're not planning on moving it. That would have been the other option, is to build some kind of a box brace right here and do all that. But honestly, like I say, this is the quickest, easiest way to do it. We know it's going to be supported, and it'll be fine for the rest of the lifetime of the house. But we're going to wait for that 4x4 to come in. I'm just going to hang out under the cross space, and then we'll go from there. So right here, I'm just doing a quick check of the fit of the post, and it is exactly where we want it. But our block was a little unlevel, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little digging just to level out the dirt right there before we hammer the post in. All right, so it's the moment of truth here. We got our post right on our block. It's perfectly leveled. It looks good. We're right up under this joist. Like I say, it's just a little bit tight, which is perfect, because we'll get just a little bit of smash down right here. But it should be pretty level. So here we go. And that's how you do it right there, folks. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, we can actually come back up here and start working on our subfloor. So that joist was not under this bathroom, it's actually under the bigger bathroom that we are not working on yet, the one that you saw us remove that tile and the tub out of. But this floor was also rotten around the toilet flange. You'll see right here me just checking to figure out how much of this original solid board subfloor we're gonna have to pull out. And then we will replace all that with OSB, make it nice and level, and just make sure everything is nice and flat and ready to go back together. But that's pretty much all you have to do through this. Just make sure you get all of the rotten stuff out, make a smooth cut, get your plywood down, make sure it's level, and go from there. So there's not really much to talk about, so I'm going to let you listen to some music and just watch me work. If you have any questions about anything you see, definitely leave them in the comments section below, and I will be sure to answer them as quickly as possible. One thing you will probably have to do if you cut your subfloor is go ahead and add a couple nailer boards like we're doing here. So all we're doing is adding a 2x4 so that we will have a spot for the corner of the new OSB to sit on whenever we drop the panel down. It doesn't matter where you have to cut your holes, just make sure that all of the edges are supported by something before you put the new piece of subfloor down. The guys that came in before us that did not actually fix our problem were kind enough to put down a 1/4-inch piece of plywood over the original solid board subfloor, and luckily we were able just to cut out a new piece right here for our new tub, and our height across that gap was perfect. So that was the last thing we had to do for this part of the install. Now that we know we have the floor fixed, we can go ahead and start putting some fixtures in. But that is it for this video. And again, if you have any comments or questions on subfloor, please be sure to leave them down below. Like and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss the rest of this content, and I will see you in the